A new documentary called The Fight just debuted in a world premiere this month at the Sundance Film Festival. It highlights 4 lawsuits against the Trump administration spearheaded by ACLU attorneys. The group has been working on the front lines in the battle for abortion, immigrant, LGBTQ, as well as voting rights. Joining me now to discuss the film is director Eli Despres, who is also behind the films Wiener and Blackfish. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Ella. How are you?
Great. So this documentary covers some really serious topics, to say the least, but I imagine it might have been a challenge to cover courtrooms and lawyers and maintain it to be visually interesting.
Well, one thing that one of our subjects, Dale Ho, says in the film, the ACLU has a lot more piercings and tattoos than, say, Department of Justice. These aren't sort of your Brooks Brothers buttoned-up kind of lawyers. They're really it's a quirky crew of motley characters who are out there prosecuting these cases. So it made it a lot more fun and a lot more of an action movie than we expected it to be when we first started it.
Very well said. And you also mentioned to me prior to this interview that you took this film in order to be able to humanize these attorneys at the same time and give them a different view outside of the courtroom.
Yeah, I think with all of our work, that's our goal. We really like telling these sort of big, important stories through the small human lens. So we spend a lot of time with these characters, when they're trying to wrangle their kids and still recruit clients for a case. Or, there are a couple of scenes where we have attorneys wrestling with phone chargers or their voice-to-text software. And we find it funny and fun and yeah, it's the human way in. It makes us feel sort of the real struggle. It's hard to save the world while you're trying to assemble IKEA furniture at the same time, for instance.
And this project ended up taking you guys from basically when President Trump was inaugurated to just last fall. So quite the undertaking after several years of putting this together. What's it like to have finally seen it debut, and how was it received?
It's been thrilling. I mean, we premiered it finally at Sundance in January, and then our pandemic version of a theatrical was just this past weekend, and the reception has been overwhelming. I feel like it's a really important piece of the country's conversation right now in this election year, with the protests in the street over the killing of George Floyd. The themes of the film really resonate with what's going on present day. So the interviews we've been doing like this have felt very timely, and I don't know, it's scary. It's a scary time, but it's very exciting.
And so you cover several topics. Tell me about how you guys ended up choosing those 4 separate lawsuits, including the travel ban.
Yeah, well, the travel ban sort of launches the movie, but that attorney, Lee Gallant, he's the immigrants' rights director of the ACLU, and he becomes embroiled in the family separation, children of immigrants taken from their parents at the border, and travels to recruit and find these clients who've had their children taken away from them, and that's really it's a critical thread in the movie. There are 3 other cases. One is of this girl, Jane Doe, a pregnant immigrant girl in detention who's refused an abortion by the Trump administration, and her attorney, Bridget Amiri, who sues the government so that for her reproductive rights. And then we followed the military trans ban. President Trump announced by tweet that any transgender soldiers currently serving would be kicked out. And of course, the ACLU sued over that. And what we thought was going to be the driest and hardest to make to turn into a legal thriller was the fight over the census question by Dale Ho. And this was the question that the Trump administration tried to put on the census, asking everyone if they're a U.S. citizen. And it turned out that the motive behind that question was to suppress minority votes. And that went to the Supreme Court, and it's a very dramatic sort of climax of the film, which surprised us.
And this can be some really heavy subjects that you guys are addressing, but there's also humor that you guys have found, given this is a reflection of real life, where there can be dark times, but there are also, happy moments.
Yeah, I really love our subjects. They live and die for their clients, and you feel the emotion and you feel the lightness at moments too. And it really, I feel like in filmmaking, the having the pathos and the humor sort of balance each other out is important. It makes it watchable for us and gives us a way in. And at the end, I mean, there's some brutal stuff in the film, but it's a movie with a lot of hope and heart. It's been great for us over the last 3 years, which have been trying, I think, for a lot of Americans, to be able to be embedded with. They're sort of, I mean, they're superheroes to us. They're the real Avengers.
And so, how would you explain when this film was revealed, considering that this is an election year?
Well, I mean, from the jump, when we first started this project, we knew we always wanted to release in 2020. I mean, I think it's a really important part of the conversation as all of us as citizens make a decision in November of what direction we want the country to go in. So, you know, the ACLU has sued every president in their 100-year history, and they're going to sue whoever is president next, whether that's Biden or Trump. But I think it's been an unprecedented time for civil rights and the attacks on civil rights in this country. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. And the attorneys of the ACLU have been, you know, once again at the forefront of that battle.
And it's pretty easy to attract viewers to a film when they already agree with some of these subjects. And how do you end up preventing a sort of echo chamber and try to invite people who might disagree? Sure.
Well, I mean, I don't think that civil rights is a partisan issue necessarily. And there's a scene in the movie. You know, the events. The ACLU defended the neo-Nazis in Charlottesville and their right to march. And if you remember, I know the news cycle moves fast, but that was the rally that ended with the murder of Heather Heyer at the hands of an alt-right activist, whatever they. And I think that event, it caused a lot of soul searching within the ACLU. It lands like a gut punch in the middle of our film. And I think that people find that these civil rights attorneys have a much more complicated and nuanced view of the Bill of Rights and what to defend than I think. They're not just a bunch of knee-jerk progressives. They have real heated debates, and I think it's a tribute to the organization that they let us kind of show their soul searching and arguments and fights and put them on screen. So I think that there's, regardless of your political leanings, there's something in this movie for you. If nothing else, it's a conversation point. You'll have a good argument with your crazy uncle or your wayward daughter afterwards.
Well, thank you so much to director Eli Despres behind the film The Fight, and we will post to our Facebook page as well as Instagram, social media, and Kron4.com where exactly you can be able to find this film and watch it from the comfort of your home. Thank you so much.
Thanks, I really appreciate it.